That time has come to view one of our popular segments of Women's Worldview, and that's called Dewdrops and Words. This will be hosted here by a well-recognized author by the name of Mrs. Shabnam Samuel Tuckar. Let's see her, meet her invited guest for this week.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to Dewdrops and Words. My name is Shabnam Samuel Tuckar, and I am your hostess this morning. Today I will be talking to Dr. Lalita Kaul, and I honestly don't even know where to begin. If I just start reading her bio, that would take up the whole segment. So I want to sum it up, and first of all, thank you, Dr. Kaul, for being here with me.
It's a pleasure.
I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Now, Dr. Kaul has a PhD from the University of Maryland, is a professor of nutrition in the Department of Community and Family Medicine at Howard University. She does a whole bunch of things. She's received various awards, a Lifetime Achievement Award from Howard University. I could go on and on. But I'm here specifically to talk to Dr. Kaul about the books that she has written, and I see them all here. I mean, they're so interesting, especially now with all of us, thinking about our health and the future and everything else. It's very timely. So I'm looking into your books. Now, can you tell me a little more about the books itself and I went through your website, I see what they are, but if a viewer wants to know what they're about, could you just explain that a little?
I have, besides books, I have published about over 40 scientific papers in peer-reviewed journals. That means they are reviewed by the peers, and they are based on the real hard scientific studies. And in the beginning, I used to do studies with the rats, albino, and that's how we find out new things.
Wow.
And then with the humans as controls and case. And then I also practice, I see the patients. So I have written several books. I can give you a brief about this. One is called Multidisciplinary Approach to Obesity, and I'm in the process of revising it. And idea came to me to put multidisciplinary. Obesity is not a single problem that you just eat and then just run. And people will say, I'm doing all that, I'm still not losing weight. So,
I see that.
So it's a multidisciplinary approach. Genetics, environment, I can go on and on, which is in the book. And then the second book I wrote about is Healthy Heart South Asian Diet. And this has been, this I was prompted because I get lot of referrals about South Asians. Somebody has diabetes, heart disease, they want to eat their same food they like. You cannot say just have salad and baked chicken. Well, I don't like it. I'm vegetarian. I want my South Indian food. I want Kashmiri food. So I then had lot of case studies, and this book is specially for South Asian. I have given many topics, lectures about that. What is genetically different in South Asians and environmentally, which can cause the risk. That's the second book. Then I did this manual on, I also see cancer patients, diet, nutrition and cancer. I also give lectures to medical students, and this is prevention, treatment, and once there is cancer, how do you deal with it? And diet plays a significant role. In fact, there are hundreds of so many grants out, and we had a very big grant on prostate cancer, and studies and significant study results came, and I was traveling around the country giving talks as well as published. And then I made this for the physicians. Physicians don't have so much time, so I'm also teaching the medical students at Howard. On an average, doctor has 20 minutes. How do you incorporate in that while you're doing history, physical, how do you put nutrition in? So the idea is to have a better quality of life your patients have. So this is just the summary.
Skimming the books, kind, yeah.
Skimming.
Now, are there any, and I see one is here specifically for South Asians, but when you write your books, are they targeted to any demographics or is it general?
Well, in my South Asian book, I give first the general, the problem, the heart disease, which is still a #1 killer in this country and other. So I get an overall demographics, and then I give overall genetic and environmental factors, why it is. Then I go specifically, I have chapters then on South Asian, what is genetically different from, Caucasian Americans, and what is environmentally different, and what are the food habits. And then I discuss what is controllable, something you can control. Now genetics, you have no choice, we're born with. But can you modify by step? We cannot suddenly tell somebody go and run marathon. They might, So that's why when I see a patient, I tell them I want a 3 days diary, weekend and weekday, because we eat differently. And I want all your latest lab work from your physician. They're very nice to give it. I want to see some medications, they can interact. Then I said I want a list of all the supplements you take, and what is your exercise habit, and how much water you drink. And the first time it takes me 45 minutes to 1 hour. So when I have the whole consolidated history of the patient, then I go into what you like, we have allergy, what are your family ways of eating food, do you eat together, or are you a person on the run? So then I plan like it's a glove made to fit, and I tell them, they say, oh, Dr. Kaul, is this a diet? I said, no, it has to be something we have to do the rest of your life. And I provide provisions for when you have wedding, you have party, you are not going to sit in the corner and say, I can't eat. Some people say, I can't eat, I am on a diet. So I said, yeah, make modification, but 1 or 2 days, go enjoy. And so I have more than 30 years of experience, and I think now towards the end I got a handle of, different situations.
So what made you write these books? You teach, you do research. What was your inspiration to write the books?
It was so much information I had gained from seeing the patients, giving the lectures. First time I was hired at medical school, at that time nutrition was not heard in the medical school as a course. But then LCME, which is a licensing body, required them to incorporate nutrition. So they hired me as a faculty, and then as I was developing protocol, the first reception they had for faculty, and one faculty member said to me, oh, you have come here to teach us how to bake and cook and make cookies, nutritionist. I said, yeah, that's important, but I am primarily being hired to teach ignorant physicians like you. And next day my phone was ringing. Can you give a grand round? Can you give a case? Which I do now. They present a case, physicians talk, and then I go do my bit. And
nice.
So I wanted to put in a book, and I think they're ready to be now adding some more. In fact, in my husband, who was a cardiologist, unfortunately passed away a few years ago. He has written a beautiful foreword for this book, that by reading, he doesn't say why, Dr. Kaul's book, you can enjoy the food but still eat healthy.
Really? Wow.
And this is a beautiful foreword he has written.
That is so nice to have and keep also.
Yes.
Wow. Now, so other than teaching at the university and writing these books, do you engage with the public in any other way?
Oh yes, I was a nutrition spokesperson for Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. So what they do is, it's a competitive thing, and they have different regions, and I was for 6 years. So I was a national spokesperson, New York, this area, and anytime a new thing came up, I would be called, because I was national, and they will interview me. I have been interviewed by Washington Post, so many magazines. Like when I was on NBC, they talked about the red meat, and you can still see it on web page. And when some study came that, oh, saturated fat is okay, so I saw all these things on Facebook. You can eat what you want and still be. I said meta-analysis. Meta-analysis means they look at all the studies, thousands. They were all saying that excess of saturated fat is not good for your heart, especially South Asians, because our arteries are very, very narrow. And so I was, I think during the 6 years, I was invited, and I was invited by the prison system to change their diet. I did. I don't know how.
Wow.
I don't know, give up. I am very, so I gave up. And
Yeah, how do you keep track of this? Because, 5 years ago, eating eggs was bad. 2 years ago, eating eggs were good. It keeps changing, and how does a common person keep track of it?
that's what we teach our medical students. We teach them how to interpret a study. A study says, well, don't eat eggs or eat eggs now. So we teach them how many people were in the study. If the N, which is the number of patients, if there are 50 patients and they are extrapolating that do not eat eggs. But if you have your statistician do meta-analysis, that means every study, and you have 5,000 studies saying no. So what the standoff, that is what American Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics do, is they're constantly researching and training us and telling us what to say in the public, what based on research. And you asked about eggs, jury is not still out. So what I do is, before we would say no eggs if you are
Right.
One is, if somebody if you have cardiovascular problem, I say if you like eggs, maybe 1 or 2 a week. Don't eat every day. But it is not still out that you can just take as much. Jury is not out on saturated. Some said, I can eat as much butter. I said, if the butter is made from olive oil, you can eat.
Right.
But if it is made from olive oil, but if you are losing weight, this is my trick question to my medical students. A patient comes to you and says, well, you said butter from olive oil is very good. I took so much olive oil, why am I still gaining weight? That was a trick question. But anyway, the answer is fat is the same. It is what it is, the
Right.
saturated fat, which I say in my shows, the difference between saturated and unsaturated. So we here who have been trained, that's why we say that go to a licensed nutrition, registered. Don't go to these, who are just read few books and give you the information.
up overnight.
Take the supplements and they say, oh, why is my blood pressure high? What have you been eating different? Oh, you eating this ginkgo? That's not for people with hypertensive. So we are here, the ambassadors, to interpret for the public. I am frequently invited by the corporations, public, where we have lunch and learn. So we order the lunch and we talk, we interpret. So we're constantly doing that. It's not only me, there are 20, 30 nationally.
This is so wonderful.
Sorry, I went.
No,
I get
love
carried.
this.
Once you talk nutrition, you can't stop me.
I love
I
this.
just go on.
No, this is a conversation we all need to have. I mean, yeah. So if somebody wanted your books, where could they get them?
Right now, I mean, you could get at one time in Amazon. So I don't know if it is, because I'm in the process of revising. You can get it from the. Both these books are on the internet. Once I think somebody was working at NIH and she called me. She says, I want to buy 20 books. I want to give on Christmas. Some of my relatives have heart problem.
It's a great Christmas gift. Yes,
So she, this one she bought about 20 copies. She says, along with some other gift, I'm giving them, because it has recipes.
Wow,
Like you can
I
make
need
kheer,
that.
you can make kheer, and with low saturated. And I have served 2 kinds of kheers at my parties, because some are diabetics. I keep separate. And I said the calories are this much. Oh my God, it tastes so good. It's the same kheer where we put cream and sugar. I say same kheer.
You don't want to know how I make kheer. Dr. Kaul, thank you so much for being here, and I would love to have you back again. There's so much to talk on this subject, but thank you so much for being here.
It's a pleasure. Thank
And
you very
thank
much.
you, folks. I hope you enjoyed the segment, and see you all next month.